There are people coming to the Dominican Republic on vacation and dying. There's been a rash of incidents recently, from this family from Toronto where the mother and the son didn't make it out of here alive because of food poisoning, and even this young man who was attacked at a resort by another tourist and had to be life flighted back to Canada after having emergency surgery here in the Dominican Republic. And I'm going to address that, how and where to treat, and so much more on this AMA Friday. Ask Me Anything, where I'm answering your questions and much more. Let's dive in. Life to be Enjoyed asks, in which clinics in Punta Cana does U.S. health insurance plans work? And how's the payment process? Let me answer the question very quickly. One of the three private hospitals locally, it's called IMG. They take Aetna, which is a US-based coverage, and I don't know what the other two, Hospiten and Centro Medico, take, but we'll go a little deeper on that, including payment process. But I want to start with this. There's a family suing the resort they stayed at in La Romana. They're suing for $10 million because this family of four came down and only two of them went back. That is sad and scary. And when I read the article on this, what I saw happened was they got sick, food poisoning, and they were calling the front desk to get help. The front desk wasn't really being helpful. And then what seems to be a crucial mistake, I don't know everything about their story, but this is what I'm seeing, is that they just sort of waited all day for finally the resort to see, oh wow, this is a pretty bad emergency, and then get them to the hospital. Once there, the mother and the oldest son, I believe, ended up dying. The father and the other son had to go back home, half a family. I mean, I can't even imagine, but that's what happened. Now, there was another story of a couple that came down here where the husband or the boyfriend, whatever he was, got sick, food poisoning, and had the same sort of experience at a local Punta Cana resort where the resort just wasn't really urgently responding to their request for help. But they didn't wait all day, and instead, within an hour or two, per the article, they called something that most people don't understand exists down here and works: 911. By calling 911 after waiting a couple of hours for the resort to do anything, within 30 minutes, per the article, the husband had an IV in his arm and medication because of the 911 responder coming into the resort. And now the third case was a young man who went to a bar at the resort and somehow he got attacked by another man, another Canadian that he doesn't know, and ended up having to go in for emergency surgery, removing a grapefruit-sized blood clot from his brain, having a piece of his skull removed to relieve the pressure, and being in a medically induced coma for weeks before his family was finally able to life flight him back to Alberta, Canada, where, following up on the articles, it looks like he's making slow but steady improvement, which is a major blessing. My hearts go out to all of these families, especially the family that lost two members and the young man that was attacked, and really anybody that goes through something when they come down here. But the first point I wanted to make is call 911. That's number one. It's essential. It's key. If you're feeling sick, not feeling right, and you're thinking, oh, I probably should see somebody, don't wait for the resort. They should definitely fix their processes and respond faster, but don't wait for them. Call 911 and you'll get attention in Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, Santiago, Puerto Plata, all of these areas that are developed. 911 works. It's good. I know people here have used it. The second thing is, please remember that 11 million people visit this country every year. Nowhere, anywhere, ever will there be an article published saying, family came down to Punta Cana, had exactly the experience or better that they expected, and went home happy and perfectly healthy. No articles will celebrate that. You'll only see when bad things happen. And when they happen in clumps, it feels like, oh my God, what the hell's going on? Doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be improvement with health safety concerns at resorts. It doesn't mean that there doesn't have to be improvement with the emergency procedures at resorts. But whether it's 911 or calling Politor, which is the local tourism police in all of these tourist hubs, there's ways to mitigate emergencies. But please, 11 million people go anywhere. People are gonna get sick, things are gonna happen, and some people are gonna die. I mean, just statistically, that's the way it is. But when 10,999,000 whatever go home perfectly fine, just keep that in mind. I don't want people panicking over it. Now, this brings me back to the question of which plans are covered by which clinics and how does payment work. And here's what I wanna make sure everybody gets right here, right now. Just none. Go with none and do yourself a favor and buy a travel health insurance policy that is widely accepted in the country you're visiting, in this case, the Dominican Republic. There are a few, but the two biggest are Humano and Universal. I've talked about this in other videos, but just go on their sites and research travel insurance plans that you can buy from them. Because here's what happens. The young man that was attacked and was taken to a hospital, I'm pretty sure went to IMG. And when he got to IMG, the first thing that they were figuring out before they rushed him in the back for surgery was, what about insurance? What about payment? Imagine that. Your son is like dying on a table, and the front desk is instructed to and following through on the instruction of no, we don't do anything until we figure out the money. Now, why is that? Because it's a private clinic. I suppose they could send you to a public hospital and they'll take you right in, no problem. But still, that is jarring. And if you have a card that says Humano and Universal, show it right by and you're in, you're ready to roll. That's why I always encourage to buy health insurance, travel health insurance. In this case, that's easily recognizable by the low-wage front desk clerk at the hospital. The second thing I would tell you is even if you didn't and you had to make a choice, there are 3 hospitals here. I would go with Centro Medico. Now look, I'm speaking from experience. Let me give you a little story. When we moved here, our kids had to go through certain things in order to go to school, right? They had to make sure they had a hearing test done and certain paperwork and all of that good stuff. So for the hearing test, my wife took the boys to IMG. My wife has a cedula. My boys, at this point, had their birth certificates converted because they became easy citizens once we moved. Yeah, it's raining like crazy right now. Been sunny all day. Well, my wife got to IMG, went inside. They did a hearing test. Now, all they did was like take the thing and look in the ears. I remember when I was young, it was like they put the headphone on. You had to like, beep, I heard it here, and touch the ear that you heard it in. They did none of that. They just looked in their ears and sent them on their way. Get to the front desk and my wife says they charged her $300 per kid. $300 per kid. Some of you out there talk about gringo pricing. That's gringo pricing, but the hospital has that. They said, no, you are not local. My wife's like, here's my cedula. And you know what they said to her? Your kids are speaking English, therefore you're not local. My wife is not a flight person. She is a fight person, which is good and bad. Some days I'd rather she flights for me. Anyway, she's going back and forth with this lady at IMG. And then eventually another guy comes over to the lady and he's like, what are you doing? They're local. She's got a cedula. The kids are going to school here. Who cares what they speak? And made this attitude-stricken lady convert it to the $40 or whatever it was per person, per kid that we pay, which is kind of what you'd pay in the States, 40, 50 bucks for each kid to get their hearing test. Ready for another story? I got another one. Buddy of mine came down here with his family and his wife got this like staph infection on her leg and we had just moved here. We didn't know any better. All we heard about was IMG. So we said, go to IMG. He went in, they looked at her, gave her a shot, she was gone. I texted him and I said, hey, when you came down here and your wife got the staph infection, do you remember the price they charged you at IMG Hospital? And his answer, tell you what, before I reveal it, you may want to send the kids out of the room. You ready? A literal fuck ton. A literal fuck ton. That's how much IMG charged. I believe it's fuck ton if you translate it to Spanish. Fuck ton. What was fuck ton down in the comments? I'd like to know actually. How would you translate that? Anyway. Then he said like $1,900 or $3,500. Let me check. And he said his wife thinks about $2,000. $2,000 to stop in at an ER and get a shot in a country where that's not the price. That's just not the price. You're paying US prices for a hospital that's paying their doctor 1/20th of what a US doctor would get for the same job. And by the way, they're great doctors. So I would just say that when you have your issue, most places are gonna run you right to this one specific hospital. And just know that you have options. The doctors are great, no issue there, but that check-in process, that payment process thing, all of that is it's predatory in my opinion. So I would be very mindful before going to a specific hospital. I won't say which, but you guys can, I'm sure, figure it out. Now, up the road a little bit is a hospital called Centro Medico. While IMG is accredited in the United States as a hospital, Centro Medico is accredited in Canada. You can go to their site and see this. Centro Medico is not going to be different from a check-in process. You have local insurance, you're right in. My son got dengue fever, which is a mosquito-borne illness, and we had to hospitalize him. When we first got there, we have a gringo vibe. So they were sending us to like one area of the hospital to do a whole like check-in confirmation of payment thing. But when we flashed our Humano card, boom, we were swept over into another area and we were instantly checked in and given a room. After spending 2 nights in the hospital with insurance, all we had to do was go downstairs, they take the insurance, they already know what they're gonna get paid, and then they charge you the balance, which for us ended up being, after a 2-night stays, $44 US. Check out the room. I'll put it up here. Like we had this like double room, a couple bathrooms. We had the whole whiteboard thing where they wrote all the stats for my son, what allergies he has, all that good stuff. And my wife was able to sleep on the couch there. Pretty cool spot, nice hospital, well done. 44 bucks out of pocket for a 2-night stay. Now the third hospital is Hospiten. That's here locally. We've never attended it. The reviews feel They don't feel as similar to Centro Medico as they do to IMG from what I've read and what I've heard. Maybe a bit more stringent with that check-in process. Again, local insurance will help a ton. But answer the question, where does US health insurance work? Just none. Please, just spend a little money and get a travel insurance plan. Or if you come down here frequently, just get the annual plan. It's really, for my family of 4, we pay $3,500 a year. Family of 4, for all of our coverage, $3,500 a year. One person will pay like 40 bucks a month. What is that? $500 for the year? If you come here often enough, that's a bargain. So you have health insurance and you never have to worry about it. Let's go to the next question. What Lulu Loves asks, do you have to be a millionaire to live the expat life you and your family are living? No, but I think you need to make 6 figures. Let me just talk about millionaire for a second, because maybe more of you watching this right now are millionaires and don't even realize it. People have this connotation with millionaire like it's this big thing. Millionaire is really easy, really easy. Let's say you're 42 years old, you own your home, and you have a mortgage on it that you've been paying for the last 10, 15 years. And you've got about $500,000 in equity in your home. And then you go over and you look at your 401k balance, and that's $500,000 or $600,000 from working your whole life and saving, and hopefully that balance has gone up. Maybe you got a couple of other things of value in your life as well. Well, that $500,000 in equity and that $500,000 that you have in your 401k, can't touch either of them, but you're a millionaire. That's what net worth is. Assets minus liabilities, net worth. So when you hear is like being a millionaire, like, no, it doesn't really matter. If you have $1 million, sure, it makes it easier. But most people with net worth of $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, they don't have that money cash. It's in equity. It's in assets that they purchased. I mean, hell, Elon Musk is a billionaire. He doesn't have like $80 billion like in a room like Scrooge McDuck. He has a worth of $80 billion when you add up the value of his assets. Don't get me wrong. He's got, as my friend Eric said, a fuck ton of cash, probably billions in actual liquid cash and or equities that he could easily sell, like a stock or whatever it might be. But he's got assets. That's what net worth is. So no, you don't need to be a millionaire. So I just want to say that to let's get this out of our minds. But if you make over 100 grand a year, which over 40% of the US population today does, so it's not some weird exclusive club, almost half the country makes that. And you can find a way to make that there and live here, you got my lifestyle. We have certain pops of income that come in for distributions in my business, but sometimes it's not that much. But either way, if you see the epic travel or whatever, that's usually because, hey, I just got a little extra money. I feel like going to do something fun. But day to day, week to week, you can live on $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 with a couple of kids. And that's not a millionaire lifestyle. If you believe it is, then we need to reframe your view of money and we need to get you hanging out with better people. That's not on me that you think I am an anomaly. I'm not. Not for an expat here, not for a lot of people living here. People that, my God, there are local Dominicans here that make way more than I do. And thousands and hundreds of thousands of them. I want to disassociate Dominican, average Dominican or regular Dominican with poor and in the campo. That's just not the truth anymore. 20% of Dominicans are poor, 20% of Dominicans are rich, big middle class in the middle. All right, moving on. Jamar asks, if I move there, do I need a visa like is required in the United States? The answer is no. Here's how the Dominican Republic does it. If you have a passport from certain countries, pretty much every developed country, US, Canada, European countries, so on, then you can stay here visa-free for pretty much as long as you want. And you just understand that when you leave, if you stay past 30 days, you're going to pay a tax at the airport upon exit. And that tax goes up the longer past 30 days you stay. I'm gonna throw up an image of a sign so you can get a sense of what the tax is as it accelerates. But in general, based on the conversion, if you're here over 30 days, less than 90, you're gonna pay about 60 bucks per person when you leave the airport. Or leave the country through the airport. You're gonna pay $90 or $100 if you're here past 90 days. And then it's gonna go up past 120, past 180, past a year, all the way up to 10 years where you end up, if you did not leave for 10 years, paying $2 grand US at the airport. And for every year after that, it's 9,000 pesos in addition to the 10-year $2,000 thing. So it's $150 for year 11 and year 12 and year 13. So if you stayed 20 years, you pay $2 grand plus another 10 years at 150 for each year. Doing the math, that's 1,500, $2 grand plus 1,500, $3,500 is what you're gonna pay when you leave the airport. That's how it's designed. There's some content out there and people who get very upset about the idea that if I'm Latin American and I go to the United States,
oh, I'm an illegal, but you, gringo, can come down here and just stay as long as you want and you're an expat.
And I get it. My worldview is shaped through this white head, so fine. I have a lacking sense of how to relate to somebody who feels offended by that. However, the way the law is set up here, I didn't make it. This is the country I'm in. This country is still developing. It's got a bunch of big brothers that are developed nations. And it's saying, hey, come on down. We'll charge you a little bit when you leave, but like, come on, spend your money. And look, the argument both ways often is like, these illegals in the United States aren't contributing anything, which isn't true. We all know that they pay a certain amount of tax, sales tax, everything else, but the same thing applies here. I pay 18% on everything I buy. I pay our cleaning lady. I pay the plumber who came the other day. I'm paying local Dominicans. I tip local waiters. I buy at local stores. So the money coming in is good for the locals. It does make prices more expensive, but my experience talking to locals, not to you out there who's watching right now going like, you're making it too expensive, these poor locals. I don't know why you have a southern accent like that, but that's how I hear it when you bitch and moan in the comments below about like, see, he's the regular Dominican, can't afford life. Well, we talk to regular Dominicans. My wife in Spanish, me, if they know how to speak English in English, you know what they say? Like, please more. Yeah, prices go up, but there's money. I have opportunity. People here are very entrepreneurial. That's like survival here. That's why you have a kid spraying your windshield at a stoplight or a guy selling you cashews at the toll booth. They don't stand out there with a piece of cardboard. They work. They look for ways to earn. And if there's more people here willing to spend money, for them, that's good. Because look, the government has not brought this country to a place where there's enough infrastructure and industry for them to make a good living like you can in the US. So they want more money coming from other places. Boy, this happened to us in Las Galeras, which is way up in Samaná. Those people were practically begging us, please tell your friends. Tell people to come here. We need more tourists. Yeah, we know, the prices go up, but we can't make any money otherwise. I'd rather, prices are higher, but I'm making some money. I'd rather struggle than be destitute, which is essentially what they're saying. I need a drink, but I told myself I'm not drinking. Got all fired up on that one. But anyway, to my friend Jamar, I think it was, you don't need a visa, just not the way it works. Let's do something more fun, shall we? I Am Belki says, best beach club in Punta Cana. All right, I wrote down a few. My favorite, and I'm biased because I like to go there and I think it's well set up and it's not crazy and you never have solicitors walking up the beach or whatever. Very privileged perspective, I get it. That's gonna be Playa Blanca Beach Club. As a secondary in the same resort, there's the Cana Club. My family goes there. We go to the Westin or we go to Playa Blanca Beach Club. They're all kind of up the beach from each other. Any of those three are great. The restaurants are way overpriced, don't get me wrong, but c'est la vie. My next favorite is in Cap Cana, and it's not Juanillo. Juanillo's fine, it's a good beach, decent spot and all that stuff, but I actually like Api Beach and Maralia. If you haven't been there, it's sort of this half-moon man-made beach, and there's two restaurants, Api, API, and Maralia. My understanding is it's owned by like an ex-husband, ex-wife. They kind of split it, and that's what they got. But Maralia is like, you can spend all day there. They got the two pools, you're right on the beach. I like it a lot. My wife likes it, but she likes Juanillo more because Api Beach is fully man-made, so she just kind of likes the more, I mean, as much as Juanillo and Playa Blanca have man-made elements, they're more like of an authentic beach, if you will, like a full beach. Where Maralia is more the club with like a small beach right there. There's a beach club on Cabeza de Toro, which is a little bit north, called Pearl Beach Club. Very nice. I think it's like $30 to get in per adult, and it's great. It's a great spot to go. And if you're younger or just want kind of more of a party, local vibe, we go to Soles, S-O-L-E-S, Beach Club up in Corrales. It's small, like you won't even, it's not like a big thing. It's just like this little restaurant and they've got kind of a beach frontage area that's completely public. You can go into it. We pay the guy to park like 300 pesos. We probably could have found our own parking, but whatever. We got there, here's your money, buddy, and we went in. See what I mean? Entrepreneurial. The guy knows how to make money. But around 5 o'clock, you want to get out of there because you start to get the smell of weed. The kids start partying. I saw this kid like doing that. You know that awkward like dude dance with a girl before you get drunk? Like he was like liking her and he's doing that like arms tucked in, like, oh yeah, she's doing this. You know what I'm talking about. All guys have done that. But a few drinks in, he's gonna be like, woo! So I made that whole thing up watching it and explained it to my wife. Like, you know what's gonna happen with that dude? Right now, he's all tucked in like 2 hours. He's gonna be like, yo man, I love you. That's Solis. That's the beach club in Corrales. 46, not my vibe. All right, Mr. Jose Jr. says, remind me, where do you go for best cookies and sweets? Happily, Jose Jr. The easy spot to get anything in the Punta Cana area is Vale. Vale has like 11 different bakeries locally. Their cakes are fine. Sometimes when you see they're down to like 1 or 2 slices, I might like not do that one because those are probably like 4 or 5 days old at that point. But you can get a cake, you can get it reliably. Every birthday party I go to, which actually I have one tonight as I record this with one of my kids. It's a Tuesday. But anyway, they They come with the pink box and they're really easy. The cakes are fine. My favorite one of theirs is the pastele, or I like their Oreo cheesecake. So there's my recommendation for you guys. But beyond that, for cookies, there's a place locally called Shakes and Plates. I found them at a farmer's market that they were doing, and my God, they make these like Cookie Monster cookies and all these other ones. They're so freaking good. And the way I ordered from them is I ordered, and then I went to the mall, Blue Mall, like a day or two later, and the guy walked out and handed them to me. They don't have a store in there. I think the owner like works in there and he makes the cookies on the side, but that's a great spot for cookies. Like, I mean, I want one right now as we talk about it, and I've told myself I'm only eating meat right now. The third place is Micropanaderia Hecho a Mano. I always struggle with that, so I think I did that all right. But this is more breads and that sort of thing. Like you can get chocolate bread and Kaiser loaves and all this stuff. It's an amazing spot. And you can order through their WhatsApp. They have a whole like setup through WhatsApp, which is pretty cool. Not like you text them, but like they actually have like add to cart and buy. So for me, cookies, sweets, those are my three. All right, this next one comes from Travel Chick, who asks, is there a lazy river in Punta Cana? Yeah, there are two that I can think of off the top. The first one is at Bávaro Adventure Park. You go in there, and I forget the name of it, but it's a big lazy river. It's a lot of fun. They have a ton of waterfalls, and when you go through the tunnels, the water's coming down. It's awesome. Actually, that might be the nicest lazy river, or at least the longest and has the most stuff. The other one is inside of El Dorado, the water park in Punta Cana, or in Cap Cana, excuse me. And that has a great lazy river. You gotta just watch your head on some of the trees that they have coming out. Like some of the design there, you gotta be mindful of. But those are two that I can think of. There's probably more. Some of you might know. Drop it down below if you do and share it with our friend Travel Chick. Oh, and before I go on, subscribe to the channel. You might be watching this on TV. I've noticed about 60% of those watching are actually watching on television. I don't know how you subscribe on there or comment or anything. So do me a favor, if you're getting value, jump over to your phone real quick, pull it up, subscribe. I'd appreciate you following along. All right, this next one is from Sherek Hanadil. Hope I got that right. She asks, I am moving to DR from Guyana. Do you know what the average cost for a single female to live in Punta Cana? And she meant monthly. She sent a follow-up on that. I wrote this down, and I think what I would say, I'm not a single female. I don't know if you could tell. I identify as bald. But I put down the number $2,000, and that's to live comfortably without concern. So here's how I broke it down. $800 a month for a condo. Now you can go lower than that, but I just think 800 gets you into probably an area that's mildly desirable. You can go way higher than that too. If you want to get more close to the beach or on the beach, you want 2 bedrooms to take in visitors, like whatever. But I put 800. I think it's a safe number for a single person, 1-bedroom apartment. $100 a month for electric, $200 a month for groceries, $100 for Wi-Fi cell phone, $200 a month for gas to get around, $50 a month for health insurance, and $100 a month for just miscellaneous like water and some other stuff. So all in, that amount is $1,550. And there's always things that we're gonna forget about. So, you know, giving yourself a little bit of buffer, I think $2,000 a month is good. Now, if you go out more, if you like to spend time with friends and go to a bar, get a drink, it's gonna be more. Like you could spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month if you wanted to, even as a single female. You want beachfront in Cap Cana, that's gonna be a different price point than, you know, a random 1-bedroom in a building in Vista Cana. So just know that. But generally speaking, if it's a matter of like, I wanna stay budget, I think $2,000 is comfortable budget for everything I just described, with a little bit of wiggle room for going out, having a drink or whatever. But if you want more, you're gonna spend more. All right, this next one is from Francesca Polanco, and she asks, ship the appliances from the US or buy them in DR, what do you recommend? I recommend buying them here. One, you're gonna save yourself some brain damage. There is the ability to ship, and people do it all the time. It happens. It's not even a matter of that. But you're gonna end up spending probably close to the same price for buying and shipping as you will just buying here. Might be a little bit more here, and honestly, you're probably gonna get maybe a little bit of an aged product. So if the 2025 version of the oven or whatever is out, they may be selling the 2024 for $100 more than what you can get the 2025 version of it in the United States, but the shipping's gonna wash it out. Or maybe it won't. Maybe the shipping will still be less, but the headache, the lack of warranty, because the moment you ship something here, no warranty anymore, all of that, I wouldn't deal with it. We bought a bunch of our appliances from Electrolama in Bávaro, and we had a water dispensary that didn't work when we bought it. One of these like bottled water things. We brought it back in, they replaced it right away. They said, yeah, it's under warranty, you're good to go. So, you know, you buy from a reputable place, not some secondhand spot, and you buy locally, you'll be fine. We got our TV there, we got everything there. I just think save yourself the headache for the, I mean, whatever you're gonna save. You might save a few $100 shipping it, but in the end, I don't think it's worth it. All right, Oscar Ortega 75 asks, what's the average price for kids' activities, like monthly fees for soccer, MMA, etc.? I have no idea, but I asked my wife, and she gave me all the numbers, so let's throw them up. For swimming, we pay $80 per month per kid. They each get lessons twice a week, so we're paying $160 a month for 8 lessons each, essentially. 16 total lessons. For soccer, we pay $70 per month per kid. That's 3 times a week practice and games. When they have a travel game, you know, there's a little bit of an expense there sometimes. But generally speaking, it's $70 for a kid. Now, both of our kids were playing soccer. The younger one dropped to do something else. My older kid still does. So $70 a month, he gets 12 sessions of soccer a month. Tennis, our younger kid jumped to tennis from soccer, and we're paying $70 a month. It's 2 lessons a month every other week. So it's about $35 a lesson, $70 per the month. And then this is an interesting one. My younger guy and the neighbor boy across the street together are taking a hip hop dance class. They watched Sing 2 and saw Johnny dancing on stage when he was fighting the guy that was, who was the guy's name? He had like an Eastern Bloc name that was like teaching him, but he was a real jerk. So when Johnny the gorilla was dancing, our boy, our younger son, and the little boy across the street, his buddy, both wanted to dance like that. So they wanted to do hip hop dance. So we found a guy locally who was like a touring hip hop dancer, graduated from school locally, and we pay him $20 per session. He does 2 a week for us. So we're paying $160 a month for my kid to learn how to hip hop dance. So all in, that adds up to about $460 a month for all of that. Again, you can go up or down. But here's how I look at it. If you add up all the sessions we get for that, it's about 32 sessions that our kids are not in our face. They're not on screens. They're doing stuff. So it's essentially like we're paying $14 for every hour for our kids to go and go do something. To me, that's not bad. And again, you can adjust that up or down. Now, if you want to dive deeper into the medical story I talked about, I'm going to put this video right here for you to click on and watch. It's one of the first videos I did, so enjoy it. See how good I was then versus now. I think I'm good now. And I'll see you all in the next video.